Well, friends, I watched the State of the Union address last night, so you wouldn't have to. The things we do for people who follow our channels, right? I actually did a live stream during the whole thing, so I was able to allow my smart aleck commentary the whole time. But let me pull some of the more relevant things for those of you that follow these channels simply for Second Amendment, things that are happening and what's going on with the government. The main pull that I got from this last night, and let me tell you, believe it or not, they glossed over the Second Amendment and the anti-gun rhetoric a lot faster than they normally do. Biden has spent way more time on this before. They had Brandon Say in the audience, who stopped the shooter at the Asian dance hall last month in California after he killed 11 people. Now, he used a semi-automatic handgun. We all know this. We all talked about this. Well, Biden referenced the semi-automatic pistol, and I want you to pay particular attention to this, guys, because this is how the government works. Biden referenced the semi-automatic pistol, called it that, semi-automatic pistol, twice. So he's very specific about what gun he named, right? He didn't just say in general where a gunman held up a gun. He didn't even lie about it and say that the gunman had an AR-15 like he normally would. He specifically pointed out a semi-automatic pistol. There is a reason for that. They want you to make this jump. 4 seconds after he referenced the semi-automatic pistol the second time, he says, ban assault weapons. Now, he incorrectly says the word ban. He says banned, B-A-N-D, but nevertheless, you know what he was trying to say. Here's the video.
You saw a man standing there pointing a semi-automatic pistol at him. He thought he was going to die, but he thought about the people inside. And in that instant, he found the courage to act and wrestled a semi-automatic pistol away from the gunman who had already killed 11 people in another dance studio. 11. He saved lives. It's time we do the same. Ban assault weapons now. Ban them now.
So you see where he references semi-automatic pistols twice very specifically, then immediately says ban all assault weapons. We know what that means, right? Surely you guys know what that means. For him to purposefully make that jump, not being an accident, you know, with him being the dementia-ridden patient that he is, that he most likely had to read that speech hundreds of times to not totally screw it up any more than what he already did. So this was not an accidental thing where they said, man, you know, we're really not looking for a ban on semi-automatic pistols, but you're talking about assault weapons. So let's maybe, you know, not say ban assault weapons or maybe give some time in between that. No, they distinctly tied these two together because they are showing their hand. They are purposely showing you what they're going after. They're going after semi-automatic pistols. We've said time and time again, they never ever stop. You're going to notice now that they feel like they've gotten some traction, well, they have to start using some of the weapons out there that are actually being used in some of these mass shootings. Because if you'll remember, they're constantly coming after assault weapons. Assault weapons, again, I'm going to use the quotes as much as I can, but I don't call them assault weapons. But they constantly come after assault weapons. They want AR-15s. They've been after them forever. The thing is, they've not been successful in banning them. And what we have constantly done on the right, at least on the Second Amendment side, is pushed back and said, why are you trying to ban a commonly used firearm that's not commonly used in these mass shootings that you complain about so much? Handguns are what's being used in all of these killings. Handguns are used far more, statistically way more than any rifle is ever used. Handguns. So now they're going to start using our own argument about why are you focusing on AR-15s. Now they're going to start looking at semi-automatic pistols, and they're going to use that argument. Semi-automatic pistols are used in this many percent of mass killings out there, so we need to ban them. And they're going to roll them into that assault weapon category. Why? Again, using our terminology. Because we say an assault weapon is whatever you assault somebody with. Now, in theory, they can call a semi-automatic pistol an assault weapon simply because, like we've always said, a beer bottle could be an assault weapon because an assault weapon is whatever you use to assault somebody. So now they are correctly, but tying that in there, but incorrectly using it based on the wording that they've always used to apply to a rifle that looks scary calling it an assault weapon or assault rifle. So that's the jump they're trying to do. They have shown their hands. They're not hiding it anymore. They're very specific and very clear about what they're planning to do. So look for the attempted ban on handguns now. That's what we're going to be faced with. And we may go back to the 1994 stuff where they only allow 10 rounds in a handgun like they did before. I don't know if you guys know that, but that was the deal before back in the 90s. So we may have that. Now, a couple of things that I do want to also point out that were, if you guys are looking for kind of a summary of it, it was just a bunch of lies, a ton of lies, where they basically said that the economy was in good shape when we know it's in shambles. We shop at grocery stores. They don't. We know what the condition of the economy is. I always find it funny that a person who doesn't buy his own groceries and fill up his own gas tank is the one who's preaching to me about the economy and how great it is. I'll tell you when the economy's good, right? You don't need to communicate that to me. I'm on the ground. I'm the one on the front line. You're not. But nevertheless, out of all that stuff, I wanted to point this out. One of the things that kind of got me was the gaslighting of gun owners. And this is what I mean by that. Biden states that the anti-Second Amendment bill that he passed last year included things that, get this, most responsible gun owners already support.
Passing the most sweeping gun safety law in 3 decades. That includes things like that the majority of responsible gun owners already support. Enhanced background checks for 18 to 21 years old. Red flag laws, keeping guns out of the hands of people who are a danger to themselves and others.
Okay, he's wrong about what he's saying about the responsible gun owners, first of all. He's saying that responsible gun owners supported the expanded background checks, whatever they call it, on 18 to 21-year-olds, and that responsible gun owners also support red flag confiscation orders. Well, we know that's not true. But the whole gaslighting part, now they're starting to twist their wording and make it clever. They're saying that responsible gun owners support these things. So they're implying that if you don't support them, you're irresponsible. That you are the irresponsible. They're not saying that all gun owners now. Used to they'd say that the majority of gun owners. Remember, they would always say that. Majority of gun owners support this. They're not saying that now. They're saying the majority of responsible gun owners, because that is a dig at you. That is a dig at me. They're stating that if we don't support this garbage that they put through, we must be irresponsible. So we're the problem. They're not the problem, we are. They see it responsibly, we don't. Because we don't support their responsible gun control laws. The next thing that I wanted to point out, which was another real stretch just like this one, is that they had Nancy Pelosi's husband in there, Paul Pelosi. If you remember, there was the little dating squabble where Paul Pelosi had his boyfriend over at the house who broke in. Apparently, the guy knew where to go, knew where to break in, and all that kind of stuff. Broke in with a hammer, and when the police got there, because Paul Pelosi had called the police calmly and talked about it, hey, yeah, we're good here and this and that. But he did encourage them to come over. He did want them to come over. So there was clearly something wrong. Maybe his boyfriend was on acid or something like that. So they opened the door up, and there's Paul Pelosi standing there with a cocktail in his hand. He has a shirt on, no pants. He's got underwear on. And he's holding the hand of his boyfriend, who's also holding the hammer in that same hand. Clearly, there was a threat right there. Paul Pelosi never dropped his drink. He never dropped his cocktail while visiting with his boyfriend during the squabble. And then the cops tell him something, and then he tries to come at Paul Pelosi, smacks him in the head. So Paul Pelosi now is a hero because he had a squabble with his boyfriend who smacked him in the head. And so now this is the guy that we're talking about that's a hero. Why is that relevant? Because just seconds before that, Joe Biden referenced the January 6th insurrection that they continue to call this. And they state that this guy, the Paul Pelosi attacker, the boyfriend, used the same type of rhetoric when he was attacking Pelosi that the January 6th people did.
Put to the test in this very room on January the 6th. And then just a few months ago, an unhinged big lie assailed and unleashed a political violence, the home of the then Speaker of the House of Representatives, using the very same language the insurrectionists used as they stalked these halls and chanted on January 6th. Here tonight in this chamber is a man who bears the scars of that brutal attack, but is as tough and as strong, as resilient as they get. My friend Paul Pelosi. Paul, stand up.
They're trying to tie this guy, the boyfriend of Paul Pelosi, to Donald Trump through this January 6th thing. And you know what the words were that he used? Where's Nancy? That's the rhetoric that he used. That's the rhetoric that he used. They're trying to tie this guy to Donald Trump and January 6th because he used the words, where's Nancy? Not MAGA, not make America great again, not something that you could actually say that those words might have come out of Donald Trump's mouth, or you could make that tie back to Donald Trump had he said, make America great again. But where's Nancy? That's what ties him back. People, be careful what you say. These people are watching what everyone says, and they will report you. You could very well have one of these red flag gun laws that you irresponsibly don't support called on you if you yell, where's Nancy?
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.